Hello everyone, myself Ritesh. I have 5 years of experience into data engineering and data analytics field.
Yep. So yesterday we kind of completed the data definition concepts, the queries related to the data definition language. How do we define the structure of a table? How can we alter the structure of a table if there are any modifications needs to be done? And how can we drop the entire structure of a table? Um, we have also seen the manipulation statements, which includes the inserting records in a particular table. If you want to update any specific records, the information in for that record. We have also seen the update, deleting the number of records altogether or with the help of where clause. Now for update and delete, what is the importance of where clause? We have identified that without where clause, if we use it, these two statements are very dangerous to use. Now dangerous in the sense, we cannot, I mean, if we have to update specific information without any where clause, the information gets updated wherever it finds a match. So it would be very difficult to grasp, or it would be very difficult to understand where the information got updated. And we have also seen the select statement, in order to fetch any specific information. How do we use select with the help of specific columns, or maybe with the help of star, though the asterisk symbol, which basically takes all the columns present in that table. If you want to fetch the complete information, all the columns, we generally go with the star condition. Now today we are going to see few concepts related to the data control language. Now data control language as well as the transaction control language. Now what do you mean by transaction control language, and what do you mean by data control language? In simple terms, if you want to control your data, um, controlling in the sense, if I take an example, now let's suppose assume that you're working in a project. Now project can have a number of people. It can be a group of folks who would be working together. Now assuming that your project, this is the project, and for this project there is a team working, a team of 4 members, and out of these 4 members, one of the member is moving out of the project, probably moving out of the project or moving out of the company. Now there are 4 users or 4 members who are working in this project, and one of them is moving out of that project. Now in such cases, if he is moving out of the company, we have a flexibility. Maybe his email ID would be permanently deactivated, and the specific email ID where which has access to this project information. Now for this project there is a database, there is this DB, and for this DB, that person has an access. If that person is moving out of the company, his email ID might be deactivated. So under which this his email ID is mentioned for this DB for the access purpose, that email ID would be permanently removed from the database also. Why? Because it is inactive, or probably that email ID has been deleted from the system itself. Now that can be accepted. User 4 is living out of the company. His email ID would be deactivated, and that email ID would also be removed from the database directly. Why? Because it is nowhere active. But if suppose there is user 1, user 2, and user 3, out of these 3, one of the person is moving to a different project. In the same company, this user 2 is moving to a different project, might be a different environment or a different database. Now, in such cases, he was prior part of this project A. Now he is moving to different project, which is project B. Might be same client or might be a different client. Now in such cases, we have to restrict this user to access this database. Now how do we restrict it? We can give certain grant permissions. We can give certain permissions which this user can usually do. Now grant permissions means user 2 is moving to a different project. Under this project there is a different DB, so he might get access for this DB. In order to revoke access for the existing, which is project ADB, we have to make sure that that person has been maybe not completely removed, but we can remove his access using revoke command. There is a command called as revoke command in SQL. If you want to, if a particular person for this user 2, there is a person who is replacing from a different project, maybe we'll get that from this project or maybe some other project, a person is coming which is user 5. This user is a replacement for this user 2. Now I want to give certain grant access. Now grant is a command in SQL which can be used to give grant access to certain commands. Now certain commands means maybe select, maybe update, or probably delete. Now why only these three? Why not the other three? The other three means DDL, create, alter, or drop. We'll try to discuss it at the end, but for now, granting access you for select, granting access for update, granting access for delete, or revoking access for select, update, and delete if there is a movement of folks or movement of people who are moving out of a project, or the person who is currently or recently joining a project as a new person, also as a new user. Now we can use these two commands to grant access or revoke access. If a new person is joining, we can give grant access. If a specific person is moving, we can revoke that person. We can remove the access. Now that is the basic use case of the grant and revoke commands. Now in our SQL workbench, it would be not that great if we use this grant and revoke access, as we have only one user, that is root, the user which we have created by default while installing this SQL server, sorry, the MySQL workbench. Now I will show you how do we write a query, but it would be not that effective. What we are thinking, it would be not that effective. Let the query window open. Now, for the first time, we have logged in today. So we have to make sure that we select the database which we want to use. Either you can select it or either you can use that database directly. Selecting is not recommended on everyday basis. Select is also a command, but you can directly use this database. If I simply run this, use Ritesh practice database. Unless you use this, if you directly run any specific command, it would not take that. Please select the database. It will throw an error. Please select the default database or whatever database you're working on it. So make sure if you're logging it for the very first time on a particular day basis, or maybe if you close this SQL workbench, the MySQL workbench, and try to log in again, you have to make sure you have to always select the database. Why? Because default it is not selected. Now I've selected this database. Let us see how do we grant or how do we revoke access. Just a moment. Yep. So we are going to see how do we first grant access. Now always start with grant. Grant is a keyword, the SQL keyword which we are using. So we will be always starting grant. It should be in caps. As I've said, all the SQL keywords needs to be mentioned in caps. Grant, select, what access we want to give, select access, grant, select access on which specific table. I want to give access on this India info table on India info. Now we have to mention what is the username. We want to give access to specific user. We want to mention that username. Now for that username, grant select on table to which specific user we have to mention. Now the earlier it was giving us an error. The error is gone. For now, default, we are giving access to null. Null means we are yet to decide to which user we want to give access. Now, prior moving that, in order to get certain information, our complete SQL workbench is used or logged in as certain session using a certain username. Now, how do we get that information? Towards left, you have an administration tab, you have a schema tab in the uppermost window. In downward window, you have a tab called as object info. Next to object info, there is a session tab. Now, if you go here, it will give you what is the host, what is the port number, login user, the current user. Now, current user is this is the right username, root at the rate localhost. We have logged in as a default root at the rate localhost. Now, this you can call it as admin, this you can call it as root user. But specifically, if a team has 4 or 3 folks who are working for the first time, if you are granting any specific privilege, maybe select privilege, maybe update or delete privilege, prior to that, you have to create a role. Maybe a person with certain name has so and so access. So for that, we should always start with creating a role. Now, if I directly mention person name here, I'll mention the person name. I'll mention my name, grant select on this specific table to my name. Now, if I run this, 0 rows affected. Now, directly it is running. Why? Because Ritesh, I have recently added this to the SQL workbench. Now, randomly, I'll take some other name. If I run this, see, grant select on India info to Rakesh. You are not allowed to create a user with grant. Now, what this error means, we are trying to create a user whose name is Rakesh, who is not a part of this MySQL workbench. Now, if I've used Ritesh, it was earlier. I mean, I have recently added my name as a user. So once I've added my name, then only this grant access is working. Now, prior to that, if I mention Rakesh, he's not able to add because grant, we cannot add user using grant. Now, prior to grant, we should always use certain query where we can add a user. Now, how do we add a user? Just a moment. Now, we can add user using create user. Now, what is the username? What should be the person name? I've mentioned Rakesh. I'll mention his name. Create user Rakesh to which specific database, or maybe what he should be identified by. He should be identified by his own password. He should be identified by his own password. Now, this is the query. I'll run this query first. Rakesh is added. Now, if I run this query again, it will run perfectly. Let me do that. Now, if I run this query again, see, earlier it was giving me an error, but now Rakesh is added. Why? Because earlier Rakesh was not created, or maybe user was not created. With this name, there wasn't any specific user present. Now, specifically, if I want to add this is default root at the rate localhost. If I want to add this name, similarly, grant select, maybe I'll use update. Select means he only has select access. If we use update, he will have update access. Grant update on India info to the local. No, we as an administrator, we will have full-fledged or full rights. But if I want to add name like this, root at the rate localhost, how do we add it? Root. Now, this is a bit tricky. I'm not saying completely tricky. Usefulness of inverted commas is important. Root should be string. It is a string value, so it should be in inverted commas. At the rate is not a string, so it is outside the inverted commas. And again, localhost is a string. It is inside the inverted commas. Now, if I grant this, see, it is working. Grant update for this. For this means as an admin, I'll have all the accesses. The user is also created. Default, I'll have all the access. But even if you want to add the name which looks like this, root at the rate localhost, now you can add using this way. Whichever is in string, that should be in inverted commas. Not in string, at the rate is not in string. So I've kept it outside. Now, similarly, I've used grant. If you want to revoke access, nothing different, revoke. Query would remain same. What do you want to revoke? Revoke select access. Select access on which specific data? On a specific table. Now, this should be the table name. India info. Now, here we have used grant update or grant select on a table to Rakesh. We want to revoke access. Now, revoke access to Rakesh is not there. From is there. There is a slight change In case of to, it is replaced with from. Now, how do we write from which user you want to revoke access? Now I've added Rakesh. I'll mention Rakesh and I'll close this. If I run this, so it is running successfully. Now, if I again grant access, he'll again get the access. This is how we can use grant or revoke access if a particular person is moving out or coming in any project, for any specific database, for any specific information where you want to restrict the access, where you want to grant access, or maybe you want to grant for only specific select, only specific update, only specific delete, then you can use this grant, then you can use this revoke. Now, if I want to give all the accesses, there might be select, there might be update, or there might be delete. I want to give all this access, or maybe I want to revoke all this access in one single go. You have to write 3 different queries: revoke select, revoke update, revoke delete, or maybe grant select, grant delete, or grant update. Now, rather than writing all 3, the only information on, how do we write that? Let me take this grant. Rather than using all these 3 separately, you can use grant select. Rather than select, grant all. That's it. If you want to give all 3, use all. Or best is use with the help of, if you want to specifically see what access he has, delete. Now, if you run this also, it will work. What this error is, just a moment, there is slight change. We have an insert also. We have missed out this command, which is data manipulation language. And
There's no semicolon in the previous
no,
line.
semicolon, that is a different thing. There is slight change, or maybe we are missing something. If I make this updates to 0, error, and check the manual syntax, there is a syntax error. Now, what syntax error it is throwing? We'll add this name. Probably this name also takes. This is working. The name plays an important role. Maybe Rakesh is revoked for that reason, or this localhost is revoked. So for me, it is working fine. Grant, select, update, delete, insert. Either you can use this, or either you can use all. All means you specifically don't have to mention whatever access is. This only works on select, that is data query language. This only works on insert, update, and delete. These 3 are data manipulation languages. Commands related to data query language and command related to data manipulation language. Now you can use this as well. Grant all, or grant any specific, you have to mention. You only have to use select. You only want to give select access. You only want to give insert or update access. Mention that to use this grant. Now specifically to revoke, same again. Click on the revoke, get the revoke statement. I'll delete this. Now you have to delete all the accesses. Delete all the accesses to Ritesh. Revoke all on. Now it will work similar. Why is it giving error? Try this. This is working fine. Somewhere it is taking differently. Revoke all on this specific table from. Now from means for which user you want to revoke access. Either you can mention individual queries, select, insert, update, or else you can go with this. Either of them would work. Now, this is not specifically if you are using any MySQL workbench. We haven't additionally created any user. So for that reason, this might look a kind of not that easy to understand, or maybe very easy to use. If we would have created multiple users for a specific database, or if there are multiple users, you can go with this grant or revoke access. Now I've also shown you how do we create a user. How do we create a user? Creating a user. I'll keep it as create user. This is used for grant access. Grant access to a user, and this is used for revoke access to user. Now, in some cases, if you are even a part of any project, I've taken this example. Let me share it. I've taken this example, the user one, user two. Now, let's suppose assume that you're joining a project as a fresher. Most of the times in this scenario also, these two statements are used. If you're joining a project as a fresher, maybe I'll take this as user six. User six is a new person who is joining this project as a fresher. Now, if you are joining a project as a fresher, most of the times you'll only get select access. Anything related to insert, update, and delete are not given to you. Why? Because you are new to this project. Maybe at times you'll get not used to it, the database, you're not used to it, you'll end up using update, you'll end up using insert, or you'll end up using delete without any where clause, or maybe you will add some dummy records with the help of insert. Now, in order to avoid such scenarios also, you can give grant or revoke access. You can use this grant and revoke. Grant access, maybe they'll create a user six, then they'll give you a grant to select statement only rather than the insert, update, or delete. Most of the times, if you're joining as a fresher or if you're joining a project as a new person, they'll only restrict to select statement. Now, how do we restrict that? With the help of grant. They'll create a user first with the help of this command, create user. Once the user is created, they'll grant select only. Now, use cases or scenarios we have seen for grant and revoke. Now, apart from grant and revoke, there are other concept which is transactional control language. Now, what do you mean by transactional control language? Now, let me explain it with the help of example. Now, you're working dedicatedly for a specific report, or maybe you're working dedicatedly for a specific work which has been assigned to you. Yes, Julie, you have a question.
Yes. So the create user, the syntax that you gave there, right? So that the Rakesh gets access to the entire database. Am I right?
Yes, entire database, or the entire the entire database only.
Okay. And also, like you said, identified by the password, which means like a specific password for that particular user, or
Yep. While creating this user, or probably this user is also added in the backend. Now, for us, it is very difficult. For MySQL Workbench, this is completely installed in our local system. If it is installed or maybe connected to cloud, there his password would be saved. Now, I can use a basic also. What do you mean by basic? This is a default keyword. Now, if I use this, operation user create field for Rakesh, why is it so? There is a statement called as basic. This would also work. Maybe I'll use Ramesh. Let us see. There is a statement called as basic, or basic means default without any specific password.
okay.
Now the query is written in such a way that it should be always identified by password.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use any specific keyword here. Not only password, identified by zone name. Maybe zone name you can mention, identified by Ramesh, or maybe certain user ID like 34. You can use this also. This would also work.
Okay. Thank you.
More specifically, password is the right approach. Why? Because he's logged in using his credential, where his password is also attached, a kind of security purpose. Now, going back, there is a specific task assigned to us, and you're working dedicatedly on that task. Now, assuming that the task is been assigned 8 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. in the morning, that task has been assigned to you. Now you have started a work on that. Now from 8 a.m., 8 to 10 a.m. for 2 hours, you are working dedicatedly on the task. You completed certain scenario, maybe scenario 1. I'll keep it as scenario 1. There are multiple scenarios in this. You have completed this scenario and you have taken a 15 minutes break or maybe 30 minutes break. Now this 30 minutes break means till 10:30 and you will come back at 10:30. From 10:30 to 1:30 again, you are dedicatedly working for 3 hours. 11, 12, 1. For 3 hours, you are working on certain different scenario 2. And after this, you'll take a lunch, maybe lunch break, which is of 1 hour, maybe from till 2:30. Now I'll keep it as 1 hour till 2:30. You will take a break, which is lunch break. Now after lunch from 2:30 to 4:30, you are again dedicatedly working on scenario 3. And after 4:30, you will take, or maybe you'll end up this for wind up for today's work. After 4:30, you will wind up this work. Now wind up in the sense, you feel that there is certain information which needs to be updated at 4:30. Now you were dedicatedly working from 8 a.m. in the morning. Most of the times it happens if you're continuously working for a complete day and at the end you were using certain update statement, you were using certain delete or insert statement, maybe delete statement. You want to specifically delete some information at the end of the day once the work is completed and you randomly use update or delete, you tend to forget where clause. Now as a human being, we always do some errors. Now that is common, that can happen. You were dedicatedly working since long from the morning. Even though you have taken break, you have completed 3 different scenarios and at the end you feel that there is certain update or delete, but without where clause I have directly used it. As a user, we tend to do some errors, we tend to do some mistakes. Now at the end, all the information, whatever scenarios you have worked, all the information would be updated. Now it would be a messy situation. Again, you have to come back tomorrow and you have to start with where we have left. That is from scenario 1, scenario 2, or scenario 3. Again, you have to do all this process. Now, as an user, the MySQL or SQL perspective, they have also faced this issue. In order to overcome that, they have come up with a solution called as save point. They have come up with a solution called as rollback, and they have come up with a solution called as commit. Now, this is where we use this transaction control language. If you want to certainly save this information at a particular interval, you can save this. After saving this, even if you use update, you want to again roll it back to the previous statement, you can use a rollback. You can use a commit. Now commit is default, it is auto commit in any SQL workbench or any SQL framework. If you're using in Oracle also, if you're using in MySQL, the SQL server also, or maybe IBM DB2 or PostgreSQL, auto commit is kept default. Whichever information you write, whatever query you write, it is auto committed. Now committed means the query which you write, it is already stored to that specific table or a database with auto commit feature. Whichever information you write, that is auto committed. Committed means it is already inserted. You are giving an access, you are saying that whatever information I'm trying to enter, that should be auto committed. Now that auto commit needs to be set to off. Default it is kept on. Now how do we keep it as off? Now there is a statement for that. There is a statement for that. How do we keep it off? Now let me help me with the statement. Set auto. So it is giving some suggestions. Commit. Now this is default kept as on. I want to keep it as off. In your SQL workbench, auto commit is kept as on. Now commit means whichever information you're trying to enter, that is committed, that is full and final. That would be directly inserted, that would be directly updated to the specific table in a database. Now you have to make sure that is this auto commit is always kept as 0 while using any rollback, while using any save point related queries, the transaction control language related queries, or it is always recommended it should be always kept as 0 only. In real time, if you're working in any specific project, it is always recommended you should use auto commit to 0. It should be kept as off. Now this is the statement to keep auto commit as off. To keep auto commit as off. Now if I run this, the spelling mismatch, unknown system variable. This looks similar like this. Unknown system variable, random errors. Let me write it other way. Now this random spelling or mismatch happens at times. COMMIT, this is fine. If I have kept it this way, this is also working fine. The underscore is causing us the issue. Why is it causing this? Unknown command. Okay, unable to detect what command it is. Now this command is used to auto commit set to off. Now we have kept this as an off. Now how do we use this? The save point, the commit as well as rollback. How to overcome the example which we have taken. We have worked on 3 different scenarios, and at the end, if you end up using any update or delete with the without where clause, you will mess up. I mean, it will go back to the morning situation which we were in. All the scenarios would be automatically updated, or all the scenarios would be automatically deleted. Now, in order to overcome that, we can use wherever we are saving any specific information, we can use a commit there, save point that information, and if any information is updated, we can use a rollback. Now, let me take a certain example. Now the table is created. Yeah, yeah,
Hello.
Pradeep, go ahead.
Sorry, I just have a question. Like, when it comes to the auto commit equals to 0,
Hmm.
so like you said, it means the data needs to be inserted into the database, right?
Hmm.
Like commit means. So why auto commit equals to 0? I mean, like 0 isn't like why it is replicated in an integer form.
Okay.
Why
Now,
commit is replicated? Because that's a data point, and is data stored in integer format to the database?
no, no. Now, yesterday we have seen the statement set SQL safe updates to 0. Now, in random terms, this is not integer, this is binary. Whichever
Okay.
is represented as 0, that means it is off. And whichever it is represented as 1, that means it is on. In binary format, if at all it is represented as 0, it is off. If at all it is represented as 1, it is on. In any SQL workbench, you can use this statement in any SQL workbench.
Okay.
It is not an integer. If you're keeping it as 0, that means it is off. You're keeping it as off. You're keeping it as 1. You're keeping it as on.
So Ritesh, like you mentioned, auto commit to 0. So
Hmm.
then it will save the tasks, right?
Yep.
So like an user who is doing the different task, okay, throughout
Hmm.
the day, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So how will he do it? I mean, by end of the day, he will make it auto commit to 0, or by start of the day? How to use this?
Yeah, I'll explain that. Default, it is kept as on, but it should be kept as 0. Why? Because if at all you want to save, if at all you want to roll back certain information, in that case, it should be off. Now, once you keep this off, there is a statement called as save point. Now, save point means wherever you are making any specific change and you want to save that, you want to commit that, you can use this save point. It will not make any impact even if you keep auto commit off. If you use this save point, that information would be committed to the specific table. But if you use a save point, and you can use a rollback, you have a flexibility to use rollback. Now, rollback means if this is kept as on, you cannot use rollback even though the information you have saved till this specific scenario 1. Now, save point A is scenario 1. You can assume this as scenario 1. At this specific step, scenario 1, you have used an update after this without where clause. By mistake, you have used update without where clause. You want to roll back this information to prior to this, or maybe till this save point. You have used an update. Now all this information is changed. Now, whatever information is changed, I want to again roll it back to the last save point where I've changed it till where the information is changed. If you want to roll back it here, it should be always kept as 0. Then only you have a flexibility to use this rollback.
So basically, while starting any assignment, I have to make it as set auto commit to 0.
Yep. While
Then
starting
I
any
can,
specific assignment, you have to kept it to 0.
right. Then I can, even if I'm by mistake doing any update or any delete, I can roll back to the previous one.
Yep. Roll back to the previous save point where the information has been saved, till where the information has been saved.
So this save point is also any keyword or what?
Yeah, it is a
Exactly.
SQL keyword. It's a SQL keyword. I'll explain it. I'll take an
Okay.
example and I'll explain it. Now we have this table, the table which we have used yesterday. There are few duplicates here. Now what I'll do, I'll first delete the records. All the records are deleted. I only highlighted this information, this specific keyword and table, not the where condition. Now, if I've used this, all the information has been deleted. If I use select again, delete, it work, find, 2 rows are affected. Okay, this is working. Let me use this. Now again, I'm using select, no information present. Now what I'll do is I will insert all these records again.
Hitesh, if we select all 4 lines, then it will not work.
Now it is giving an error. It is giving an error. Now why is it giving an error? I'll explain it. We can select all 4 lines, but there is a random check which is done with this SQL workbench, MySQL workbench. Now how do we do that? I'll explain it. We have used blank. Okay, this should be kept as blank. Okay, this is inserted. We have all 4 records. Now what I will do is I'll write certain queries here. Start transaction. After start transaction, I'll use certain update command where I'm updating a specific information. Let me update that. Now, the start is used wherever you want to start any specific work. You are working on a specific task assigned to you. To start any specific assigned work, after this, I'm using an update. Now, I want to specifically update this null, the state Tamil Nadu primary language. I want to update this null with the primary language. Now, how do we use that? Help me with the update query. How can we update this information? Now, yesterday we have seen update with the help of set, and
It's
have
like
we
update
seen?
from.
Okay,
Update
update.
from then the table where you can mention where Tamil
Okay,
Nadu.
just a moment. India info.
Right.
Where?
Where Tamil Nadu or the where Tamil Nadu
Where
is
state
equal
is
to
equal to
null.
state name equal to Tamil Nadu.
Right.
Okay. What I want to update?
The primary language. So null.
Now, how do we write that?
And
No, and is there, but what we are trying to update, that we also have to mention, no? Update query from is itself giving you an error. If I scroll it up, where we have used update, see from is not even there. Update directly table name.
okay.
If you want to add any information, you can directly set it to whichever information you want. Set, see, wherever I've used update, there isn't any from statement here. So make sure you know the query perfectly. Update table name prior to where there should be set p language equal to, yeah, this is updated. Now I'll use select statement here again. Select star from India underscore info. So this is updated to Tamil. Now what I will do is I'll use a save point here. I have recently updated it. I'll use a save point here. Save point. Now what I can mention certain name to it. Save point. What can we mention here? Save point A, or maybe save point Tamil updated. I'll use a semicolon. Now I'll run this. This is working fine. Now after this, what I'll do, I'll use a delete. By chance, I'm using delete from this table. Now I've used a delete. I'll again use a select. See, nothing is there. Why? Because without where clause, I'm using a delete. Now I want to roll it back till whatever step I have kept it. I want to roll it back. Roll back. Now you can use rollback. If you use a rollback, let us see what it does. I've used a rollback. I'll again use a select. So it is not working. Why? Because we have save point this information at a point. Now make sure you have to mention that roll back to this save point. Hey, well, why this save point is not existed? There is no save point, does not exist. Let me comment this out. We will start the transaction again. Let me see if there is information. No information is present. Let me insert this information here. Information is there. Transaction is started. Again, start the transaction. Now I'll use select first. Let me see this information is there. I'll use an update here. Now this update is working fine. This is updated. Let me delete it. Now I'll use select again. No information present. I've commented out the use of rollback. And again, let me see the select statement. Yeah, this is working fine. Now it roll back to the previous step, not the step which we have used. Update also, where we have made an update, it has gone back. Why? Because we haven't used this save point. Let me use this save point and see, rather than keeping it as this. Okay. Now I'll again start a transaction. Now make sure you are always starting a transaction. The SQL workbench has to assume that the transaction has been started. Rollback, it worked directly without save point. Let me roll back it with the help of save point. If it is working fine or not, let me see that. I've used an update, and let me use select. Okay, this is updated to Tamil. I'll save this at save point A. After this, I will use delete. This is working fine. Now I'll use a select. All the information is delete. Roll back to A till point A. Let us see if this works. Query is working fine, but it should give us result. Yes, it is giving result. Without save point, I've done it. With save point, I've done it. Now, without save point, it will go back to the state which it was present prior to the start transaction, which default it was present, where there was no Tamil, it was kept as null. But if the information is updated, where I've updated the primary language for the state Tamil Nadu, and I've save point that information now, and again I've deleted it without where clause. I've rolled it back to the save point A, where it was updated to primary language Tamil. Now you can use this n number of times. I can have, now this is rolled back to A. What I'll do, I'll use a update here. Update set age equal to, for Telangana, I'll keep it as 25, where state underscore name equal to Telangana. What I want to update the table name. This table name, I have to mention it here. Let me use select statement again. Earlier, the information was rolled back to point A. Now the information is updated. Telangana, set age equal to 0 rows affected. Why? Okay, the name is wrong here. 1 row affected. Yeah, select is working fine. If you see, the age is set to 25. Now, with the where clause, I've set up this age. Now I want to save point this. You can save point it here. Save point B. A is already there. Again, I'm using a delete here. Delete from this table. I'm specifically deleting this information. All the information is deleted. If I use a select here, no information is present. Now I want to roll it back to save point A, or I want to roll it back to save point B. You have a flexibility here. You can directly roll it back to B, or else you can roll it back to A also. Both would work. Doesn't exist. Have we not used this? Hey man, my bad. We haven't used, I guess we haven't used this save point B. Now, again, we have to start that transaction. Now, prior to that, what I will do is I'll roll it back to A. For our safety, I roll it back to A. And if I use a select statement, it will be Tamil again. Now what I'll do, I'll use an update again. Update is there. I'll use a select. The age is updated for Telangana. I'll save point this. I'll use a delete here. And I want to roll it back to B. Either you can roll it back to A. See, roll it back to A. If I rolled it back to A, this is what I get. But if I roll it back to B, let us see how the information is changed. Now we have already rolled it back to A. That is why this update is gone. Now, if you directly wanted to roll it back to B, make sure this update is there again, save point, and again roll it back. Now here you will get the 25. Why? Because save point B is after A. Save point B is after save point A. Now, whatever updates you have made after A, that updates are vanished if you directly roll it back to A. If you roll it back to the latest save point, which is save point B, all the updates after A are also present. Now, usefulness of save point is wherever you feel that information is updated perfectly and you want to save that information, always use this save point, which acts like a commit. Up to this step, whatever update, whatever delete you have made, whatever insert you have made, all that information would be present. All that information would be committed and saved at that specific point. Now let me use some insert statement here. Insert into, I've used update, I've used delete. I want to insert some values. Insert into India info values. We have a state name. Now let me insert Andhra Pradesh, comma, capital STHI. I'm using the age of the state, which is 10. Region is South again. Now this is string. I am mentioning it in inverted commas, and primary language, I'll keep it as Telugu. Let me close this. Information is added, inserted. Let me use a select statement. Select star from this table. See, wherever I'm using keywords, I'm always using a caps letter. So recommended, always use caps. See, information is updated. Now what I'll do is I'll save point this. Save point C. Save point should not be repeated. If you use A, it is already there. It will work fine here. If you use A, the information is saved till A, but whatever is saved after A, that would be vanished. So make sure the save point is whichever you're using. Now A is there, B is there. Always go with the another save point. Save point C. Now what I will do is I'll use update here. Update set. Now if I use a select here, the age for Telangana is not right. I mean, the state was formed in 14. So I'll keep it as 10 again. Set age equal to 10. Now this is not string, where state name equal to, I'll use this update. Why is it giving an error? Let us see if this runs. Oh, sorry, table name is missing. This will work fine. Now this is updated. Now if I use a select again, see, the information is all correct. But what I want is I want to roll it back to the previous step. Simple, roll back. Roll back to C. Now if I roll it back to B, the insert would be vanished. Why? Because after B, I have inserted a record. If I roll it back to A, all the updates, all the deletes which we have made after A, that would be vanished. Only where the language, primary language for Tamil Nadu was set up to Tamil, that information would be present. So make sure you are using wisely where to roll back, to which save point you want to roll back. If I use it for C, see, I've used it for C, it is rolled back to C. The age is previously updated was 25, it has rolled back to C. Now, if I roll it back to B, and I'll again use a statement, select, that Andhra Pradesh is gone. Whichever information, which state, which insert we have used, that information is vanished. Now, again, if I roll it back to A, I've rolled it back to A, the Hyderabad, the Telangana's age, which was 25, that is also vanished. We have used update here, that is also vanished. It has rolled back to save point A, where the information was, the primary language was set to Tamil for Tamil Nadu. Now, this is how the importance of save point, importance of rollback is. Now, auto commit, this should be always kept as 0. If you are keeping it as 1 and you're using save point, that will not work properly. So make sure you are always setting auto commit to 0. Now, we have seen few data types, in the sense we have seen varchar, we have seen integer. Now, if we would have used variable only character here, this is also fine. Only char is also fine. Char means a character information. Why only varchar? Why not only char? Both are fine, but there is a slight difference. Now, this is an interview question. If I wanted to specifically explain what is the difference between char and varchar, both are string data types. Char is also string data type and varchar is also string data type. There is a slight difference. Varchar has a advantage over char. Now, what is that advantage? If you have declared character with 6, this is the length of that character. Now, it will occupy 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is occupying 6 bytes of information. Again, same variable character with 6 as the size. Now, it will occupy 6 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, the advantage here is in this character 6, you are trying to insert a record with only 3 names or 3 words. Maybe I'll mention the short form which we have used, MUM, which is short form for Mumbai. I have inserted a record in the table where the column name is character. The size is kept as 6, but the information is of only 3 bytes. Now, these 3 bytes will be kept as blank or null. These 3 blanks would be kept as blank or null. This will still occupy the space. These 3 blanks would be present. This will still occupy the space. But if at all we are using a variable character, the information would be kept as MUM, and whatever blanks are present, these blanks will not be saved or stored in the database. This will be vanished. There won't be this information. There won't be this information. These 3 blanks, apart from MUM, there is no character present. These 3 spaces would be vanished. If you're using a variable character, that is the biggest advantage. This is an interview question. What is the difference between character and variable character? That is varchar. Slight difference, you have a benefit of storage. If you are using a character and you are declaring it a certain size and the information you are inserting is of not that size, maybe smaller than that. If it is bigger than that, if the information is bigger than 6 bytes, it will always throw an error. The information will not even update. But if the information is less than 6 bytes, it will occupy the white spaces. It will not delete this. It will occupy this white space, and this complete 6 bytes of information would be stored in the database. Whereas if you're using a variable character, which is an advanced version of where the character data type, it will not occupy these 3 spaces. These 3 spaces would be vanished. only the space where the information is present, that would be occupied. Am I, let me share it. Maybe something I've missed it.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. I was sharing the other
Repeat it.
window. Okay, this is what I wanted to explain. If it is character with 6 bytes and I am trying to insert MUM, 6 bytes means all 6 bytes information would be present. It will occupy these 3 blanks also. Whereas if I'm using a variable character, only 3 bytes of information is present. The other 3 bytes would be vanished. There would be no information here. So in terms of storage, variable character is the most appropriate. It will not take white spaces. If at all we are using a character, it will take all the white spaces. Now, as I've said, if the information is greater than 6 bytes, it will not even insert. It will throw an error at that specific time. But if the information is less than 6 bytes, that is 3 bytes. Here, our example is of 3 bytes. It will take white spaces. In variable character, it will not take the white space. Clear? This is an interview question. Difference between char and varchar, the data types. Any questions on this character
So,
and variable character?
like you're denoting each word of Mumbai as
Mhm.
1 byte, right?
Mhm.
So, like, is it an example, or I mean, it's like this is how we do the calculation of bytes, like.
This is how the calculation works. The calculation in the sense we manually don't do it. In the background or maybe system, this is how the system appropriates the information.
So we are just assuming that M is 1 byte, U is 1 byte, like this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So MUM, if I am trying to update or MUM as a capital letter, so the BAI space which you are talking about, in that it will not if I mean that will not be occupied if I use varchar.
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
the question is, you have asked, maybe you'll have a doubt also. If I want to update MUN to complete MUM BAI, complete Mumbai. Now, in that
Right.
case, if I'm using a variable character, how it will work? It will again occupy all 6 bytes because maximum length we have declared up to 6 it can take. Now, if you want to update this information MUM to MUM BAI, you are using an update here, there won't be any problem because it can occupy information till 6 bytes. The void spaces which was vanished, it will come back again. There won't be any problem. White spaces which we were talking that would be vanished. If that information is not present, it will come back again in the background. Why? Because we have ideally declared the size up to 6 bytes.
Okay. And what about if I have something like Chandigarh? So
It will not take,
Chandigarh.
it will throw an error. Maximum byte is 6. You have to go back and alter this table statement. Maybe you have to increase it to 20. Chandigarh is less than 20, but maximum we can keep it to 20.
Okay. So how to update this to 20 in case, and
Yesterday we have seen that alter statement. Have we missed that? Let me see that. Alter table add we have seen. Alter table drop we have seen. Okay, good question. Alter. Just a moment. Alter table. This table name. I want to specifically increase the size of the uh, whatever varchar or maybe any specific capital. Now, how do we write that? Where is that alter statement? And is that, yeah, this is the alter statement we were working. Now we have a flexibility. We have used add, we have used rename. Now there is an option called as update also, or maybe make change also. Now, how do we write that? I'll explain it. There are two different ways. That two different ways I'll explain. Data is in either you can use alter again. Alter what specific column you want to alter. You want to specifically alter the capital. Now alter column. What information? I want capital. capital. You want to increase the data type or maybe the data set size, the type of data set. We want to increase the size of that. Alter table, table name, alter column, data type, varchar. What was it default earlier? It was kept as 50 or something. Let me see that. Capital, it is kept as 100. I want to increase it, or maybe I want to decrease it. Let me use 50 here. I want to decrease. I'm decreasing it. Now there are two. Either you can use alter, either you can use modify. Both would work fine. Now if I write this alter statement is done. Either you can use modify, either we can use alter. Both would work. If I use alter also, that would also work. Maybe I've skipped this. I've also skipped rename. We have used add, we have used drop. There is a statement called as alter table. I want to specifically rename the column name. Maybe I want to rename capital as largest city. I want to rename capital to the largest city. Alter table, table name. I want to rename something. Rename what column I want to rename. You have to specifically mention rename column capital to which specific column you want to rename. You have to first filter out what specific column you want to rename it. Rename column capital to is a keyword, to largest city. Maybe I'll keep it as large city. This is updated to the large city. Now, if I use a select statement here, let me use that. See, capital has been updated to large city. Now, somewhere we have used an alter. What was that alter? Modify column capital. I have kept it to 50. Now, let me see. Can I use that? I am going to this window here. Here in tables, India info is present. Let me see if information I can see that. I've clicked on this eye icon. See, large city, which was earlier kept as capital, it was varchar 100. We have used that alter. With the help of alter, the data type, the size of that data type has been reduced to 50. Now, how do we see that? Go to this schema tab. In the specific database, you'll get this tables option. You'll get a drop down if you have created a table. Under that drop down, if you hover on the table name, you'll get this eye icon, eye settings, and there is a table icon here. Now, if I click on this eye icon, you'll be default in this info. I'll go back to the columns. Here you can see what type of data type, what is the maximum size assigned to it.
Can we also change the data type itself, like alter the data type itself?
Yeah, alter the data type itself. We can change that. Alter table. Now modify is I'm modifying the column, the data type here. You can change it to int also. It will not work. Why? Because the information is present in varchar here. If you want to change it, you can change it to int also. That would also work.
Can you show the rename command which you just did it?
Okay,
I
rename
wanted
command. Yeah, rename.
Yeah.
I want to rename this capital to large city.
Large city. Okay.
My bad, I might have missed it, but yeah, rename and modify both are present. You can use alter also here. This would also work. Yeah, any question?
Yes, earlier you said in care, if you use only care, then it will take three character for MUM and three character for space, three space. Total 6. Right?
Yeah.
So if starting we enter only MUM, but after that we alter to Mumbai. That will take Mumbai also, right?
Yeah, it will take Mumbai also.
For care only.
Yeah. If you are updating it to Mumbai, we have maximum declared size till 6, so it can accommodate whatever information is coming till 6.
It will replace from null character to last three character.
Yeah, it will replace null or blanks to BAI. In varchar also it will work same. The advantage here you get is if you are using it less than that, maybe every time we not declare 6, maybe we'll declare 60 also. Most of the time we'll declare more than that.
Yes.
We may not sure what would be the length of the information we would be inserting. So we usually declare, see in the statement itself, here in itself, capital is not even 100 or maybe not even 50, but I've declared it to till 50. The reason which I've kept varchar is it will not occupy the white spaces. For that reason, I've kept it to varchar. I could have used char, but I'm using varchar.
To save memory.
Yep, to save memory, to save storage.
Yes.
Now, going back,
Yes.
commit,
And
rollback, save point, we have seen. We have seen the grant and revoking access. We have also seen how do we create a user. Now, I specifically wanted to highlight few information. In integer data type, I would be covering few insights related to integer data type. Now, in this integer data type, if you see here, we have only declared integer. There are few more integer data types. One is tiny int, one is small int, one is medium int, and one is big int. Now, what is the maximum storage it can occupy? If you see here, tiny int is 1 byte, small int is 2 bytes, medium int is 3 bytes, integer is up to 4 bytes, and big int is up to 8 bytes. Now, what is the maximum length or number it can accommodate? Tiny int can accommodate from minus 128 to plus 127, 255. 255 integer characters or integer values it can accommodate. If I use a small int, it can accommodate from minus 32768 to plus 32767. So this is the amount it can accommodate. Now this is means addition of this plus this. It can accommodate these many values. If I use a medium int, it accommodates from this value to this value, negative to positive. There are use cases for integer where you have to mention negative values also. Now, for age, you cannot mention negative. For that, we have a concept called as constraint. In constraint, there is a concept called as check. Check constraint will determine, you have to mention that check age should not be negative. That we would be discussing in further lectures. But in simple terms, an integer can accommodate negative to positive value, but there is a range for that. If you're using any specific integer data type, you have to make sure that the range of that number should be within the limit. If you have mentioned integer and you are mentioning the mobile number, it will not take that. Mobile number is of 10 digits. Integer is of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or maybe less than 9, or maybe 10. Not exactly all the numbers. If the number starts from 9, it will not accommodate that. Why? Because it can accommodate up to this value. Maximum size is 2. If you're using a mobile number, you should always go with this big int. Now, big int, it can accommodate minus 2 raised to 63 power till 2 raised to 63 power minus 1. Mobile number, big int can accommodate. If you're using integer, integer can accommodate maybe any random bill number, any random invoice number that can be stored in the integer data type. Now, I want your contribution. Where can we use this medium int? Medium int can accommodate this value. Where can we use this? We have seen invoice, we have seen bill number, which can accommodate in the integer. Mobile number can be accommodated in the big integer. If you are using a medium int, where it can be used specifically? It can be used for mobile, invoice or billing number also, but I want some other example.
PIN code?
Good. Maybe, yes, PIN code is of 6 digits. We can use this. Any more example? Okay.
Trains PNR number.
Good. Trains PNR number. If in case we want to use small int, what it can accommodate? Where can we use this? Okay, medium int can be used for ATM pin also. ATM pin cannot be of 6 digits, not every time. Maybe sometimes it is of 6, maybe sometimes it is of 4. Small int, 5 characters. This 5 characters, where can we use this? Maybe any employee ID, an organization with less than 60,000 users or 60,000 employees. Employee ID, any specific organization. Most of the organizations, maybe multinational companies or government agencies, have more than these numbers, but a medium scale or maybe a large scale organization less than 60,000 employees, their employee ID can be less than that. And where can we use this tiny int? Only 3 digits. Where can we use this? Rare case. We have to make sure where are we using this.
CVV.
So CVV can be 762 also. This will not accommodate because it is beyond 127.
Ritesh, I have a confusion here. So like we were referring to these numbers like the maximum value unassigned. So 65535 like this. So I was before this statement which you just mentioned, I was referring to that we are taking this numbers, okay, into consideration in terms of the, the units, right? Not the exact number, right? So
Yes.
my point is that this 762 which you are referring, I mean, I'm not able to understand how this 762 is coming here.
Now this is going beyond this limit. There is a maximum and minimum value assigned. Now, if I use a tiny int here, take this as an assignment today, use tiny int and try to mention this number. Let me know if you are able to get this number. 762 is inserted or not. Work on this. Let me know if
Okay.
this number is inserted or not. Then we can decide we have to consider this maximum value or we have to consider aggregate. Now, unassigned means it's a combination of this plus this.
Got
This
it.
plus
That
this.
that
Yeah.
point I got it. Right.
Yeah. Not.
Like when we are referring to the int one,
Mhm.
you mentioned like it starts from 4 to 9. So
Mhm.
any mobile number which starts from 9 or 7 or 6, so we'll not be considering this int one because the first number
Mhm.
itself is 4.
Mhm.
So are we trying to refer like this, or we are refer one number each, like
we
that's
we
the
have to
number?
refer from 2, not from 4. We have to refer from 2 because maximum value signed is from 2, 2147. Anything less than that, 2 2 it will not accommodate. If it is 213 it will accommodate. If it is 215 it will not accommodate. Why? Because it is ending from 214. This can
So
accommodate this, it
so
cannot
in
accommodate
case,
this.
right, in case like there is, I mean, the usage is so much, right? If I, instead of thinking so much that which one I should be using, rather than that I should directly jump into big int, it will cover the entire thing, right?
Yes, default most of the times integer is used because this number, if you're using a mobile number specifically, they'll
Mm,
always go with big int. But
right,
anything less than mobile number, they can go with integer only. I mean,
right.
you may not reach this limit, rare case, but if you think you are inserting anything more than mobile number or even a mobile number, always go with big int. Blindly
Right.
go with big int.
Right. That's what. Right.
Now, we have seen the difference also. Character, Varchar. The most biggest advantage is trailing spaces. Trailing spaces, it will definitely help it. So yesterday we ended up with a small question. I wanted to highlight it. This specific question: drop, truncate, delete. Now, where I have created a confusion for you folks, any one of you tried why truncate, why delete, and why drop? Any one of you have tried it? Whatever I've explained yesterday, it is just a vice versa. I just wanted to create a confusion for you folks. Truncate is not deleting all the table structure. It will only delete the records, but it is still a data definition language.
Yes, Ritesh, I would like to just take this up. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
so when you use this particular drop statement, it will basically delete the schema of it. Now, we do not have anything that's left to run everything. But whereas in the delete statement, you're only specified to a particular column. Let's say, for example, I would want to delete an age column. Select star from the table name, delete. You're specifying a particular column. It will only delete that particular column. But whereas truncate will only delete the it will not delete the schema, I could say. But whereas in drop, it will totally delete the schema.
Hmm.
Maybe that's the difference, what I could.
Yep. So in if you want to explain it in terms of interview explanation, drop is the
Right.
fastest. Truncate, this is more faster than drop. Now, why is it? Drop is also dropping the complete table structure as well as records. Truncate is only dropping the records, whereas delete is the slowest. Why? Because it is dropping, I mean, deleting one by one record. If you use a where clause, it will go one by one row. Wherever it will find that similar match, it will delete that record. If it has found a similar match here, it will delete it. If it is not found here, it will go ahead. If it has found a match here, delete it. Match found, delete it. Now delete is slower, drop is second slower, and truncate is the fastest. Now they'll create a confusion. Truncate is not a DML command, it is a DDL command. It is still a DDL command. We are not changing anything in the definition. The only change here is we are deleting all the records in one single go. We cannot use where clause here. In truncate, there is no use case of where clause. Doesn't affect the table structure, but it will delete all the records in one single go. Whereas if you're using a delete, it will match. If you're using a where clause, it will match it. Even if you don't use a where clause, but DML, it's a DML command. Delete is a DML command. Even if you use no where clause, it will go row by row. Truncate will not think row by row. It will take all table in one single go. Table structure is not deleted, but all the records are deleted. Whereas drop, what it will do, it will delete all the records and then it will drop this table also. This table also will be dropped. So for that reason, it is slightly slower than truncate. Why? Because truncate is dropping the records, not the table structure. It is faster than delete, but slower than truncate. And truncate is deleting records, but it is not a DML command. It is a data definition language. It is DDL command. It is faster than both drop and delete. So how the data or how the scenario flows is, truncate is the fastest. After truncate, it is drop. And after drop, it is delete.
Ritesh, you mentioned it is the DDL command. So, over here, the modification is happening, right? In truncate as well, because you are removing the records. So, how is it DDL command?
Now, yesterday I've given you an example. If you're traveling on a bike and you get a red signal, why to wait on red? Why only on red, not on orange? Or maybe wait on green and go on red. Now that you have to make sure. There are few exclusions in SQL. You have to accept it.
Okay.
Truncate is a DDL command. Now I
Got
cannot
it.
change it and go back that it's a DML command. We know that it looks like a DML, but it is still a DDL command. For that reason, I've kept it separately and I'm explaining at the end only. Truncate is DDL command. There are few exclusions in SQL. Now for that exclusion, I've explained an example. Why only wait on red? Why not on green? So there are few rules which are set aside. We have to maintain that. We have to accept it. That is how the SQL works. Any questions? We kind of covered two specific data types, additional information about data types, the integer data type, as well as the difference between char and varchar. We have also seen drop, delete, and truncate, the difference, the exact difference, and why truncate is still a DDL command. It is still a DDL command. It looks like a DML, but it is still a DDL command. And today we have completed with the transaction control language, the data control language. Now, maybe starting tomorrow, I would be going to the kind of in-depth concepts, maybe advanced concepts, starting with constraints, starting with a combination of joins. Any
Ritesh,
questions? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So in the rollback, right? The rollback statement. So how long will that, like, for instance, roll back to A or B? How long will that session be live? Like, how long can we use that A or B?
Okay, the session means if you close this SQL workbench, it will stop there. Session would be closed. Or maybe you have kept this session open in the background and your system got shut down. That is also where the session would be closed. If you have kept this session open in the background, it will work until the workbench is closed in terms of MySQL. But if this information is present in the cloud,
Oh,
If you save point there, now in real time, it would be saved in the cloud
okay.
up till the cloud is connected with your credentials. Now make sure, that is why, make sure you are using a save point wherever you feel that information is correctly updated. Use a save point and done. I mean, the information would be saved up till that point.
So I'm just wondering, because I haven't worked so much with cloud. So I'm just wondering if there is a disconnect, like mostly there wouldn't be, right? Or
Mhm.
on a live project, there wouldn't be a disconnect from the cloud. So probably the rollback is not going to be deleted.
Yeah. So there won't be any such downtime. Even if you feel that there is an internet issue at your end and you're working on certain queries, see, whatever queries you're working on, once that query is completely done, save point there or commit till there.
Mhm.
You have a
And
flexibility, you can roll it back. If at all you feel that information is wrong, you can roll it back.
Mhm.
But if you feel that the information is done, save till that point or save till that session.
Okay. And one more thing, you said about this start transaction, right? Start transaction. So how frequently should we use it? And can you give an explanation?
um Not used frequently. I only wanted to focus on these concepts, more specifically to rollback and the commit related transactions. So for that specific reason, I've kept it as start transaction. I could have randomly jumped to update select, just because I'm updating from this step. Prior to that, I'm using a start transaction. Not frequently used, but still it is a kind of the TCL command. The start transaction is also a kind of TCL command.
Okay. So it is like the I don't know how to say this, but is it like my SQL compiler will understand that you're going to do something like a
Yeah,
different.
my SQL compiler will assume that you're trying to do something. Then from that specific instance, it will be an alert that you're trying to update, you're trying to select. Now, for that reason, I've used this. This is
Okay.
not mentioned in my PPT also. Select, not even in DCL or not even in TCL. Start transaction. This is a transaction control language only. It's a
Mhm.
default keyword. It's a part of TCL. Yeah. Any more
If
questions?
it's end of the shift, is everything went well? So what we need to do? We need to remove all the save point or
Yep.
leave it
We
like
need to
that.
do all the save point. Why? Because auto commit is set to 0. If it would have been 1, the information would have been automatically committed. But if you're using auto commit 1 and you're using an update or delete, you'll end
Mhm.
up, rollback will not work there. You'll end up messing all things. For that reason, auto commit is kept to 0 and it is recommended to use save point wherever you need.
And one more thing, when we assign new user, so he get automatically all the rights, or we need to first assign the user, then we give all rights.
Now this is a on-premise system, so he will get all the rights. If you are working on real time on cloud, he may not get all the rights. Select is default.
Okay.
Reader access is default. After
Mhm.
reader, you'll get insert, update, or delete. Now, even in insert, update, delete, you have a flexibility. You can give update, or maybe you can give insert only, not delete.
One last doubt. So if the commit auto commit is like 0 and I forget to do a save point, but I just updated something and I just closed the session, will it still be saved? Will the
It will be still saved.
okay.
It will be still saved, but recommended to use a save point.
Okay, but if I
But
don't
if you
use it,
use a rollback,
it won't.
it will go back.
Okay.
It will go back to the default where it was present, not the save point. Maybe the update will be removed.
Okay.
So make sure you're using a save point whenever you are using any DML. Now, I also wanted to highlight, I've been using select, I've been using update, I've been using delete, I've been using insert. This will not work for alter. The transaction control language will only work for DML, that is manipulation. If I use an alter statement here, I'm trying to change the table structure and I'm saving it. No, that will not work. TCL will only work on DML. It will not work on DDL. If you're changing the table structure and you want to roll it back, no, it will not roll back. Commit, rollback, the transaction control language will only work on DML, not the DDL. For that reason, I was only using update. I was using only select. I was using insert. I was using delete.
Gotcha.
Now, I wanted to highlight this in a separate session, but in simple terms, it will not work on DDL. It will only work on data manipulation language. DDL is changing the structure of the table, changing the schema of the table, not the records. Any more questions? Now, today is the last free session. Anyone who is satisfied with my sessions or trainings, who want to learn, who want to enter this field of business intelligence with Power BI, Azure, and SQL concepts, you are free to enroll. Enroll with this course. Now, maybe at the start of this session, Mahesh has highlighted that how do we enroll it. It's a 4 months. Again, I'm trying to highlight. One-time payment is 27K. You'll definitely get a discount. If at all it is not, you're not getting this, connect with the team. They'll help you out. In 3 installments you want to pay, you can pay it in 3 installments. Now, why 3? I was informed only 3 are there. If you want some other information, please get in touch with the KSR team, anything related to payment. I would be covering all these topics, 20 days, Power BI, 35 to 40 days, and Azure Cloud, more specifically 20 or 22 days. Any more questions on this? How do we register? What is the website? These are the 2 websites.
Hi Ritesh,
Yeah.
I have a question. So I do have a career gap of 1.5 years. So will that create problem for my new employment?
You previously worked for how many
Yeah.
years?
Around eight years.
There won't be any that much problem. You can specify it that there was certain health issue, or maybe for my health issue only, I have taken a gap. Prior to that, I was working as a Power BI developer for 3 years, and I have so experience. I'm trying to enter this field. Now that can be mentioned. Yeah, you will face, I'm clearly informing, you will face certain difficulty while shortlisting process. Not all the organizations will try to shortlist you, but there is a certain edge. If you know all these concepts and you are good in interview, definitely few organizations will take into account.
Okay,
Now,
so if you are a recruiter, and in that case, what your thinking will be regarding my profile?
Now there are rules set by the organization. Recruiter
Okay.
doesn't set the rules. If the now there are few, at times organizations also come up with few openings where career gap students can also apply. Maybe 1 year, 2 year, or up to 5 years of career gap. There are the female folks who take a gap, maybe after childbirth or something. For them, most of the times the organization opens it. Now, only specifically to female, they'll not open. They'll open for both male and female. So there they'll have a mentioning that for female up to 5 years, and for all other folks, I mean, including male, it would be up to 3 years or 2 years of gap. Now that is valid. You can enter there. You can give your interview. Now these rules are set by organizations. As a recruiter, I'm okay if you're good with the technical perspective. Maybe for this last 1.5 years, once this course is completed, you can create few projects and put down that projects in a GitHub or any online location, so that the recruiter goes through them and feels that you're good in Power BI. You can grasp an opportunity in their organization. That can be mentioned.
Okay, but from KSR side, there will be no discrimination, like you have career gap kind of thing, right?
No, nothing discrimination. I mean, what we will do using a discrimination here?
No, I'm just asking that there will be some policy, like some of the jobs will not be promoted
No,
to this
no,
people kind of thing.
no, nothing from our end.
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that. We'll not do any discrimination. Even if you're a fresher, even if you're a 10-year experience, we'll treat everyone as same. There won't be any discrimination here.
Thank you, thank you. And one more thing I would like to ask. So I did have a background in data kind of thing, like more into Excel and VBA kind of thing, more into reporting kind of thing. So that will definitely help me out because this is just an extension for me.
Yes.
So yeah.
You can mention you started with VBA and Excel and you moved, you left job around 2021, end of 21.
August 22.
Okay, August 22. That is okay. I mean, you can say that from, I'm taking an example, maybe starting from 2019, you worked as a Power BI developer for certain organization, whatever organization you're working on, till 2022. And I felt that there is certain health issue or maybe certain family issue. For that, I've taken a gap. Prior to that, 2019 also, I was working as a VBA macros developer, which is the previous version of Power BI only. Folks who were working in Power BI prior to that, the 10-year or 8-year experience folks, they were previously working as Excel or VBA developer only. So that will definitely benefit you.
Okay, so okay, I can tell my health, or I can tell like something like I did have my business kind of thing, so I took a break, something like that also I can tell, right?
Both would work, but you have to specifically specify why you have taken a gap. If it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
business,
that I will manage, not a problem.
that you
Okay.
can manage. That
Yeah,
won't be any problem there.
yeah. Okay, thank you, Ritesh.
Yeah, any more questions? See, I've already informed anyone from any background can learn this. Now, the granular level which we are covering, we have seen for SQL also. I've taken almost 3-4 days to explain the concepts of SQL. Maybe we have started with the non-technical aspect, but still prior reaching coding, prior reaching the SQL queries, we have first seen why SQL, why is it important, how is it important for Power BI point of perspective. All that I have gathered, all that I have shown you. And for SQL also, we are covering it from the very basic level. Now you'll have a question that can I cover it in 20 days? Yes, we can cover it in 20 days. Our speed will increase after 4 or 5 lectures. But till 4 or 5 lectures, to get comfortable, it will take some time. For Dheeraj, I have almost 10 years of experience. In the last 3 years, I'm working as a supply chain intern. Before this, I was an Excel reporting. Can I join? Yes, definitely. Even though you're working as a supply chain, in supply chain, I have seen folks who are using Microsoft Dynamic 365, which also includes some reporting perspective. Now you can combine it. You can say that in supply chain, I was using Power BI. There are a few organizations which use Power BI. This answers, Dheeraj, this answers your question.
Yes, thank you. But I was just thinking that Power BI is good, or I can join in data engineering field also. Means what are the difference between these two things?
Okay, now it is up to you. You have to decide, but I'll simplify it for you. If you want to work on analytical perspective, go with Power BI. But if you want to work as a more a kind of cleaning data, extracting data from data mines or data lakes, and then transforming it again to the further teams, more specifically to data, more specifically to in-depth coding, go with data engineering. If you want to work on the reports, work on the concepts related to Excel only. Now, Excel, Power BI is an extended version of Excel and VBA, combination of both. Now, you have to decide if you want to work on reporting, analytical perspective, it is best. The Power BI is best. If you want to work more into terms of data related aspects. Now, data means not only analytical, but cleaning, managing, transforming, that all stuff that goes to data engineering. There, it would be more a kind of in-depth coding. You require Python, you require Spark, you require Hadoop.
And that coding will be almost we can say that 80% of coding means whatever the project is there.
Yep, 80% of coding and 20% of cloud aspects. Here it would be 60-70% of reporting, analytical and cloud concepts, and 40% of coding. Now why 40%? I'm not saying 40% of complete coding. DAX is also coding in Power BI, but writing DAX is way more easier as compared to any Python or as compared to any data engineering script.
Okay, thank you, Ritesh.
I'm working as process associate. Just a moment, I'll take your question. I'm working as process associate at Amazon since 2 years. Can I have? Yes, Govri, you can definitely go with this course. Even though you're working as a process associate, no one will ask you if you want to switch your career. That too, you're working at Amazon. Now you have a benefit of working at large scale company or a big company. This is big four company in terms of technical, the US technical aspects. You can mention that I was working for certain project where I want to process large amount of data. In order to take analytics, I was using Power BI. Now we can explain you how to explain that for the, if you want to switch your role, but yeah, you can still go with this Power BI course.
Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you.
Yeah, someone had a question. Yeah, Julie, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was you were talking about the projects that we can do in between and project that and even writing blogs. So for that, do we get guidance from you, Ritesh, or is it from somebody in the team, like the KSR data team?
See, for blogs and all these aspects, there would be in between sessions conducted by the external HRs only. The KSR team connects with few MNC HRs, so they will explain. We pay for them, whatever they'll try to explain. So they will explain how do we shortlist, how can we make sure that person is right for this opening. So there they will explain if a person is shortlisted with the help of his project or blogs. How do they shortlist? Now that points we collect and that points we share it with you. So some external sessions are also conducted for blogs and something for all other non-technical aspects. I might help you in between less sessions most of the times, but specifically more HRs or non-technical people will come into picture here. Yeah, for project related aspects, I will definitely help you where to paste that, how to showcase it in the further interviews. All technical things I'll explain.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Ritesh.
Yes, Sivam, go ahead.
Yeah, Ritesh, I had one doubt here. Like, since you said that, data engineers and like, if I enter into the data field, so we would be requiring like, coding skills and all. So like a DS algo and everything will be a very basic thing, right? Yeah.
For data engineering, data structures is not compulsion. If you want to work as a maybe the data scientist or maybe algorithm specialist, there you will come with this DSA, the data structures and algorithms. For data engineering, yeah, DSA is not completely required, but coding is required.
So coding, like, definitely it would be leading to some like, logical structures and algorithms, right?
Yeah, not algorithms. For data science, you might require algorithms. For data engineering, statistics is required, not algorithm. Basic
Okay.
statistics, but it would be more in terms of coding. You need to know end-to-end Python. You need to know end-to-end Spark nowadays.
Okay. Then SAS tools would come into picture, right?
Yeah, analysis tools also comes into picture there.
Okay.
SAS tools means any specific SAS you're trying to talk about. It's a cloud-based tool, no?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So for data engineering also, we mostly cover the both. I mean, we have two stacks here. One is for Snowflake and one is for Microsoft, which includes the in-depth analysis with the help of Synapse, in-depth analysis with the help of Databricks, and few the natural language processing concepts. Now there it would be more a kind of they'll start with Python if you want to enroll for data engineering, they'll first start with Python, basics of Python, all in depth of Python. Then they will move to the cloud concepts, the Synapse, the in-depth Synapse, the PySpark notebooks. So all that comes into picture.
Okay, so you're saying that DS algo is not required for data engineers, but it is required for data science kind of curriculum.
Yeah, data science kind of curriculum. Predicting analysis that can be done with the help of data science, not for the data engineers. If you know statistics, that is more than enough.
Okay, got it.
Satvika, I have 5 years of experience into healthcare domain, non-IT rule. I'm working with TCS. See, you are working with TCS, you'll get advantage there. You can mention that I'm working with TCS since last 5 years. Maybe since last 3 years, I was working as a Power BI developer for certain healthcare project where I've developed multiple reports related to so-and-so domain. Now, you already know the domain, how the domain works in healthcare. Now you can make a scenario there that I've worked on so-and-so domain where I've created so-and-so reports. You're working in TCS, that advantage you'll get. By end of this course, you can put down your experience into Power BI, Azure, as well as SQL. That answers, Satvika?
Yes, thank you.
Sudhir, can we use 1 year career gap as working as a freelancing? Definitely, Sudhir, you can use it. But if you're working for a freelancing company, they'll also pay you. Now, there are certain organizations, if you want to enter after a career gap as a freelancing, you have to make sure you're showcasing something. Maybe the amount which they paid, you have to give a bank statement. Now, that we cannot get. Or maybe the work which you have shown, I mean, not the complete work, they'll only ask you to which organization you're working, what all they developed. You can show it as a freelancing, or maybe you can simply show it from I worked internally for my business, or maybe certain known people where I've worked as a freelancing and they have paid me directly without any bank statement. Now that can be shown, and you're from Australia. Now you have a career gap, or you have taken a career gap. You can showcase it at freelancing. Okay, you have taken a gap. There won't be any problem, man. You can showcase it. I had certain health issue or maybe something like that. You can showcase it, but prior to this also, I've answered a question that I have a career gap for the other individual, that you have a career gap, you can still showcase it from front end point prior. Okay, no problem. Even for front end prior also.
Ritesh, I have one question.
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is I don't know, it's a bit silly, or it's like out of curiosity I'm asking. Like how we can plan if once we have enrolled, how much time of practice we need to perfect ourselves. Like if we attend live classes, and after live classes, how we should go and tackle this course. Like, do we have to maintain a book, or how we create notes, and how to go about this course? If you may answer this.
Okay. So wherever I feel that notes are
Mhm,
required, I'll share it with the recordings.
mhm,
Now it depends on individual to individual. Now you said a book. Now there are few folks while attending sessions, it is not recommended
mhm,
that if you attend a session, you will get everything. You may note
mhm,
it down at somewhere, maybe not
mhm,
every point, highlights. Once you note it
mhm,
down, if you're
mhm,
busy all the day, you can again go
mhm,
back to recording in 2x speed. Now recommended is go with same speed, but if you still want to understand something, you can go with 2x speed. This is one scenario. You will get a gap of weekends, 1 day or 2 day gap. There you can practice all that 5 days of work. Now all that 5 days of work, in the sense, it will not take 5 hours, or it will not take more than 3 hours also. If you spend 2 to 3 hours on weekends and attending sessions or attending recordings, that will definitely help you out. For SQL,
okay.
it will definitely help you out. For Power BI, it will definitely help you out. For Azure, you need to have certain extra effort. Why? Because it is certainly new. Cloud is certainly
Okay.
new there. You have to
Mhm,
understand the UI, and then go with the concept.
Okay, cool. And how about if I attend the class on a daily basis, and do I have to again practice on a daily basis? And what about if it's holiday, where there will be a classes or it will be off for us?
So we generally take an off if at all that festival is a big festival,
Yeah, like
or maybe it's
Christmas or
a
somewhere like.
recommended. See, if I take a class on Christmas,
Yeah,
I mean
so
there might
majority
be
of
people.
will not attend.
Yeah, how that is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I can take class on 1st of Jan also, but the issue
yeah.
is there most of the people might not attend. 25th is an holiday. I'm taking 8 to 9. If at all you are planning any vacation, you're moving out, or maybe you're holidaying somewhere, one day you can manage. One day, 2 days you can manage, you can go with the recordings. Now,
Okay.
we'll generally take a off on 15th August, 26th of January. These two are certainly off. If at all it's a big festival like Diwali or Dasera or maybe any Holi or Sankranti, yeah, definitely we'll take an off. We'll give an off of one day. If at all office is closed, yeah, I'll take off on that specific day.
Mhm.
But
And
holidays is not recommended. We are
uh,
not a college or any institute to take holidays. You can attend
and
1.5 hour day.
and what about the practice, hands-on practice?
Yeah.
We if we do it on a daily basis, how much time we
It
need to practice?
depends.
It
It
depend
depends on
upon
individual.
person to person. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it depends on individual. If you have a free time, maybe
Mm-hmm.
2 hours or 3 hours, you can go
Mm-hmm.
with the recordings. Keep your recording aside. With
Uh-huh.
the flow of recording, you can practice it in your laptop. If you have 1 hour or 2 hours daily, you have that
Okay.
label time, then you can work there. If at all that time is not available, work on Friday evenings or Saturday mornings, Saturday morning or Sunday mornings. That should also work.
Okay. And do you recommend practicing on a live classes? We should we simultaneously practice the same concept that you are
Okay.
taking live, or is that recommended, or it's need to focus on the lecture and we can practice later? It's
Okay, so
yeah.
see, I'll explain. If you
Mhm,
are practicing next to me,
mhm,
maybe you are, I mean, if I've write a query and I've run this, by the time
mhm.
you'll write a query, I'll be moving to next query. So there will be a
Yeah.
lag there. So recommended is if you're going with the same speed or same flow, you can practice it. Maybe writing query you cannot do. You can do some drag and drop that you can access exposure to UI that can be done.
Mhm.
Once
Okay.
that is done, in terms of practice, you can go back to the recording. As I've said, if you have leisure time for 1 hour, 2 hours a day, you can practice there, or even on weekends that would work.
And is this lectures or times constant? We have a timing schedule at 8 to 10. There will be some time we need some more time to
See,
practice.
I
So
will, I
yeah.
have managed it such a way that it would be completed. That specific day or that specific session would be completed by 9:30. If at all
Mhm.
it is recommended, I mean, I feel that it is going beyond 9:30. Maybe I'll take 10 to 15 minutes, not more than that. But
Okay. Cool.
I usually avoid using that 10-15 minutes also, because many of them are working professionals. They might be busy with their schedule. I recommend, or generally don't take any more time. 8 to
Cool.
9:30 more than enough. Now for 5 days there are many questions, that is what I'm extending it to tell, but it is not, it will not extend.
Sure. No problem. Thank you so much, Ritesh.
Do we need any specific system configuration to work on tools? Dheeraj, if you have i3, if you have anything more than fifth or sixth generation laptop, or maybe prior to that also it would work, but it would be kind of bit slow. But i3 or more than i3 with 8 GB of RAM, you can work on Power BI, you can work on MySQL. If at all you have a RAM of 4 GB, you cannot work simultaneously on Power BI as well as MySQL. You have to either choose MySQL. Once MySQL is done, you cannot use MySQL again. You have to simply jump to the Power BI. But in case of 4 GB RAM, it will work slightly slower. Why? Because the Power BI desktop is a heavy tool. Whereas in case of Azure, no system configuration. It is purely on cloud. You only need a browser. That's it. A valid browser. Yeah. So to answer the Sudhi's question again, even if you have a gap of 1 year, even if you were from front end, you were from a technical environment only. So it will not take much time to grasp up. In terms of coding also, you'll get the DAX or the SQL concepts also you'll get easily, because for front end, I guess you worked as FSD. So for FSD, SQL is also there. You will get this SQL concepts also. Yeah, for 1 year gap, you can manage it. Now, how do we manage it? You can ask it maybe in between when you're trying to attend interviews. Our team will definitely help you while creating your resume, while they'll also give you suggestions how can you inform the further recruiter or interviewer. Yeah, any more questions?
Yeah, Ritesh, just one question. In coming month, you will start this course in evening also. So you will be the instructor or someone else?
No, this course has already started. Have you seen any other advertising from KSR team that there would be any different course starting in January?
No, no, no. I think I just read one message that someone asked when you start in evening. They said,
No,
they
no.
replied
Okay,
that.
okay. So Mahesh might have said, in the evening, it will take 1 more month. I would not be the instructor. Uma would be the instructor. I guess it would be Uma or maybe Santosh. I'm not sure. It will be up to KSR, because the lecturer or the person who is trying to explain, they have to take their flexibility also if they are available in that time. But usually we take a gap of 40 days between every session, every start of new course or every session. There is a
Right,
gap of
right.
40 days. No, maybe after third week or maybe around 26th of January, you can expect a new session or a new course with the
Okay, okay.
same skills.
Right.
Ritesh, just
Like,
one more question.
Mhm.
Sorry.
yeah, I just want to know any idea what time normally they start in evening, 6,
No,
7, 8, 9?
time cannot be decided now. It will take maybe after 1 month only you'll get to know.
No, no, no. Timing means 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Rough
That
idea
that
what
that
normally.
not even rough idea, man. I am not the lecturer. So if I would have been the lecturer there, I would have explained you. Not sure about the timings. You can connect with the KSR team, but yeah, as I've said, it will take a gap of 40 days.
Okay, thank you.
Ritesh, just one more question. In case we need a brush up, you have covered the SQL concepts, but meanwhile we move on to concepts like Power BI or Azure. In that time, if we need a brush up on SQL again, so can we able to request a class that is will start in evening?
Brush up is different.
Yeah.
SQL classes you can attend in the evening sessions also. If at all
Mhm.
you require that you are confused, you have a
Yeah.
flexibility to attend any SQL class. For Power BI, you have to specifically wait, or maybe it is not given. SQL is covered in all the sessions, so you have that flexibility. You still have recordings also.
Mm-hmm.
Both are there.
Correct. That's correct. But if we need extra support for some of the concept that we are like a bit didn't understood or confused with, or not having confidence to tackle it, so can we able to request extra classes somewhere
Extra
around in middle?
classes are not given, but as I've said, for SQL, you can attend any other lecturer session. That flexibility you are given. For Power
Mm-hmm.
BI, if at all you are generally missing there, uh, recommended is always go. And our team will always reach out to you that why are you not attending the sessions? Is there any
Mm-hmm.
problem at your end? If at all there is a
Mm-hmm.
problem, they will add you to some other batch. That flexibility you have. But
Okay.
you are attending all the sessions in this batch and you again want to attend all the sessions in another batch, that
Yeah.
is a different approach. Now that you have to explain it to the KSR team why you want.
Yeah,
It
I
is
got.
purely their understanding or their scenario. But from
I
my
got.
end, I'm free to say you can attend any lecturer's SQL session in between also.
And yeah. Okay,
No,
Ritesh, I got it. I got your point. Like, if there is a valid reason, you guys can accommodate that candidate in
yeah, yeah,
that lecture.
yes.
Got your point. Thank you so much.
And
And yeah,
Manoj had a question that in the evening batch. See, Manoj, don't take evening batch. If you are okay with the evening batch, maybe you have to wait for 1 month. Accepted. The time cannot be confirmed. I've confirmed with the KSR team